Rochelle Butler. In this episode, I'm looking at your 40 plus years and essential diet and exercise for that decade of your life, what areas you should be focusing on. I'm going to be looking at what's working for and against you in your life, typically around this stage and age of your life, and the areas that you should focus on to best support your body and the type of exercise you should be doing. So typically in your 40s, it's a slight hangover from your 30s. Similar things are going on, perhaps still focusing on career, but you're in a slightly better position where you're slightly more established now. You're not having, you may still be working till late at night, but you've learned how to take back a bit of control and a bit of time for yourself. If you started the family, the kids are a little bit older now, so perhaps in a slightly better routine of childcare, and they're perhaps not so young anymore, so you're getting better sleep at night. You're getting better at managing your energy levels around that. What typically happens in this sort of decade also, in the 40 plus years, is financially, things are starting to even out a bit more. You know, it's not such a shock of paying the mortgage or new home or getting used to the cost of children. You're a little bit more settled now. So there's a bit more disposable income and a glimpse of time more available to you. So this is often where people start looking out, start getting into personal training or signing up, or having a gym membership, which they use more regularly, or going to see a nutritionist or getting some professional help rather than just doing it themselves. A, because they appreciate that their time is limited and they just need to focus in that time and you want to get help from a professional. And B, because you have the disposable income for that. So that's quite useful. The other thing, what tends to happen here is by way of exercise. I've noticed people in their 40s tend to focus on the women in particular will tend to focus on your Pilates, yoga, toning type exercises, wanting to get back into shape after having had children and now have the time and energy for it. The guys tend to want to relive their 20s and so want to go back to the rugby club and, you know, hitting it hard like they were in their 20s, or if you haven't kept up with anything in the 30s, of course, this can be really detrimental. So quite often I'm seeing in 40s, a lot of injuries, niggles, pains, women perhaps a few more, your hormones are now slightly different, particularly after having kids. So it's almost a whole new you you've got to get used to. You perhaps don't lose weight or carry weight the same way you used to before your kids or when you were younger. So you're having to completely readjust to a new you, and a body the way it used to, is no longer responding the way it used to, the way you used to know. So in the 40s, there's a whole sort of learning curve again. And this is often where people kind of give up and just go, oh, well, I'm getting old now, so I'm never going to get rid of this gut, or I'm getting old now. Or my mother always had really large hips, so it's just going to be the same for me. And while I can see why the yoga, the Pilates, the more passive types of exercises, and I know that these aren't only passive exercises, but in general, initially, quite often I find people, the women particularly, their attraction to those type of exercises is because they can't bear the thought of intensity or working too hard. And I would urge women in your 40s to really have a little bit more faith, a little bit more confidence, and don't just go for the easy way out. If you used to or were running comfortably before and did enjoy it, get back into that. Don't be afraid of the spin classes, the high intensity interval classes. Obviously, just take it easy if you're getting back into exercise. And of course, don't not do the Pilates and yoga. Those are perfect for toning and certainly stretching, even the meditation aspects of some of the yoga classes. So really try to manage your exercise and make sure that you're getting a bit of everything, but don't shy away from the harder type of exercise. I think that's what I find women in their 40s tend to shy away from. Guys, the message to you would be almost the opposite. Don't shy away from the more passive, you know, spending time stretching, perhaps even doing yoga or Pilates. It's a perfect thing to do as a couple. And then, yes, absolutely, enjoy you know, having the money to buy the bike and now going out road cycling and weekends away doing that. But don't be wary of just throwing yourself into really hardcore gym or any exercise, thinking that you should relive the levels that you were maintaining in your 20s. It still becomes an element from a diet point of view, still becomes an element about feeding yourself to manage your energy levels. Women, you start to potentially needing to look at possibly supplementing. Your hormones are beginning to change now, but you just want to get yourself in a good position where you're eating well, exercising, both hard and more passive exercise, so that you continue with that in your 50s. And then the same with guys, you want to look to preserving yourself now so that you're not moving into your 50s and 60s where you can no longer run or no longer do that because your back's knackered or your knees are shot. So that's where you're starting to move into sort of preservation stage here. Like always, remember your chronological age, the actual age that you are, isn't necessarily indicative of your biological age. So you may well be in your 40s and still have the biological age of a 30-year-old. But this is generally what's going on in your 40s. Don't give up on exercise, still incorporate in your life. Remember, especially if you have kids, you're a real example to them now. So incorporate it into your lifestyle and really enjoy it. Subscribe below if you want to hear more about how to eat, move, and be healthy. And leave us a comment if you have any experience that you can share with us on how to keep moving and keep exercising in your 40s.